Hi, welcome to English Composition. I'm Michael Chang. I'm here today with Cher Chen.
各位同学，大家好，欢迎回来英文作文课程。我身边的是郑老师啊，我是 Cher。
All right, today we are studying Unit 10, and our topic today is writing about a vacation.
好，我们今天呢要为各位同学讲述的是单元第10哦。那今天的主题呢是要去谈论一个怎么样去写作一个美好的假期。
All right, now first let's think about a situation. Have you ever had a friend who's been off on a vacation for a while and then they sent you a letter and just imagine how happy you were when to hear from them?
好，那各位同学可以先想象一下哦，如果你现在身边有一个朋友，他正在度一个美好的假期哦，那如果呢，你可以从这个朋友这里哦得到一些只字片语，关于他现在这假期过得如何，那会是多么美好的一件事啊！
And now also, nowadays we have electronic forms of communication. We can send an email to each other, or else we can send Facebook messages to each other. And so these are very quick and easy and convenient ways to communicate. But just think how much happier you might feel if you get an actual physical postcard or an actual physical letter from somebody that you care about.
好，那我们知道呢，现在的社会啊，我们比较常使用的一些方式呢，是透过 email 的方式跟朋友做联系，或者呢，我们也会把照片放在 Facebook 啊，所谓的脸书上面，这样呢就可以跟朋友做分享。但是呢，各位同学想一想哦，如果呢你可以实际上收到一个实体的，可以拿在手上的这样子的一封信或是一个明信片，这样的感觉跟你收到 email 是完全不一样的。
And also, I think that postcards are kind of fun because they often have nice pictures of the places that you're visiting, and then oftentimes the pictures are nicer than you can take unless you have a very professional camera.
好，我们知道呢，尤其是明信片哦，它上面呢总是会有这个当地非常漂亮的一些照片。那你可以想想看，这些照片啊，不是一般的人可以拍得出来哦。这么漂亮的景色呢，必须要是你至少手上可能要有这个专业级的照相机，你才有办法有这么棒的景色。所以呢，这个透过明信片，你就可以拥有这么漂亮的照片。
All right, let's take some time now and we can chat about some of the postcards that we have. And so, for example, I brought some postcards in, and this is actually a set of postcards that I got when I was in Spain. And I got these because, of course, they're taking pictures that are much nicer than the ones I can take. So we have a whole set of different places in Sevilla, Spain, for example.
好，现在老师手上呢，献给各位看的呢，是他当初去西班牙玩的时候带回来的一组明信片哦。那他之所以留着这组明信片，并没有真正的寄出去呢，当然也就是因为，哇，这个明信片上面照片非常的漂亮哦，你可以看到这些非常棒的一些景色，那老师觉得很值得纪念，所以就把它留下来了。
All right, and then sometimes we get postcards from our friends, and so I have some other postcards that were actually sent to me. And so over here, this one says, "Hello from Los Angeles." And so this was sent by a friend of mine after she started to work as a flight attendant. And then she'd send me a postcard whenever she went to a new city for the first time.
好，那老师现在手上拿的这张卡片呢，是以前他的一个朋友哦寄给他的。你看可以看到说，这是从这个 Los Angeles 哦，从这个地点寄过来的一个明信片哦。那老师这位朋友呢，当初呢他是在成为了空姐之后，以后他每到一个城市呢，他就会寄一个明信片给老师哦。那这就是其中的一张。
All right, so Cher, you also have some postcards that you want to share, right?
Yeah, I actually had some postcard from my students. 老师问我说呢，是不是也有一些卡片哦，可以跟各位同学分享？那各位同学可以看到，现在荧幕上，这是我的一个学生从芬兰的圣诞老人村寄过来的明信片。他告诉我说，哎，这个是从圣诞老人那儿的家乡寄来的哦，所以呢是捎来了这样子的一个好的祝福。那还有另外这一张呢，也是我的一个学生寄过来的哦，那这是从英国寄来的哦，那这是英国的皇室平常在戴的这个皇冠。那各位同学可以看到，那上面有非常漂亮的一些宝石作为装饰哦。那当我收到这张卡片的时候，非常惊喜哦，因为每个女孩都会喜欢这样子一个漂漂亮亮、有宝石、亮晶晶的这样子一个皇冠。那它也代表了英国的一个非常棒的传统。
All right, now so far we've been talking about the kind of postcards that we've received from our friends or from our students. But now what we're going to do for the rest of the class is we're going to kind of flip the situation around and we're going to talk about how you can write a postcard or you can write a letter to someone else when you're on vacation.
好，那到目前为止呢，我们给各位同学看到的照片都是我们自己收到的明信片，也就是从别人那儿写来给我们的明信片。那我们今天要为各位同学讲述的呢，就是让各位同学成为真正的明信片的写作者，由你的角度去写一封明信片给其他的朋友。
All right, so now what you want to do is imagine that you're on vacation and think about the wonderful experiences that you're having and how you want to share them with somebody that you care about.
好，那等一下呢，各位同学会看到的哦，就是我们一个写出来的一个范例哦。那就是说，当你在一个参加一个很好的一个假期的时候呢，那你会希望把这样的内容写下来，然后写在明信片上寄给你的朋友。
All right, and so what we're going to do is help you imagine this kind of situation is we're going to watch a short video about some people who do go on vacation.
好，那为了帮助各位同学容易去想象这样子的一个状况哦，接下来呢，我们会给各位同学看一段短片。这段短片中呢，各位同学就可以看到怎么样去这个国外度假，然后发生什么样的事情。
Hey Kay, here is an airmail to you.
Oh, thank you, Jane.
Do you have a friend abroad?
I don't think so. Hey, it is a letter from Gary.
Gary, our colleague? Cool.
Yes.
What did he say?
Hi, Kay. I'm having a wonderful time on vacation.
Right now, my wife and I are in Hawaii. We are staying at the Paradise Hotel. The hotel is great. It is right on the beach and we have a great view of sunset every evening. Yesterday morning, we took a boat to an island. We stopped at a bay where the water was deep but tranquil, and then we went snorkeling in the ocean. The water was cold, but we had wetsuits that keep us warm. When we went underwater, we saw many beautiful brightly colored fish that darted in and out of the corals. Tomorrow we are going to take a trip to see the volcanoes. It should be very exciting. How is everyone at the office?
Are they all doing okay? Are you working that while I am on vacation? I hope everything is going well. We're going to spend 2 days in Singapore, and then I'll go back in 1 week. See you then, your friend Gary.
I can't wait to see Gary and his photos in Hawaii.
Yes, me too.
So watching the little video, I bet that you wish you were in Hawaii too.
好，看完这个短片呢，我想各位同学都希望说，哇，如果我也在夏威夷多好啊！
All right, so we're going to take a little bit of a break now. After the break, we'll come back and we'll look at that letter more carefully.
好，那我们现在呢，先休息一下。休息回来之后呢，我们会再来仔细的看过他写的这一封信件。
Okay, welcome back. What we're going to do in this segment is take a closer look at the components of the letter.
好，欢迎各位同学回来。接下来呢，我们要来各位同学讲解一下刚刚在这个写作范例里面这篇文章哦，我们要为各位同学讲解里面的一些内容跟一些细节。
Right, so let's start taking a look at the letter now. And one of the first things that we can see is that there's a date at the top of the letter.
好，那各位同学可以在这个信件中发现哦，第一个特别容易让我们注意到的就是日期的部分。
And usually we might write this in one of the top corners, probably the top right-hand corner if you're writing a letter. If you're writing a postcard, you can also write it here. You might write it anywhere you want, such as where you sign your name.
好，那通常呢，在一般常见的信件写作的方式里面呢，我们会把日期呢标注在信件的这个信纸最上面的角落。那可以是在右上方或是左上方。那像各位同学看到这个例子呢，是放在信纸的右上角。那如果是在写作明信片的时候呢，因为空间有限，所以你可以把日期写在署名的旁边或者是其他的部分。
Right, and also it's really nice to have the date because if you look at a letter, if you look at a postcard that you've had for a long time, then you might want to know when that card was written. So it's nice to put the date in.
好，那为什么跟各位同学说日期很重要呢？因为如果说在很久之后，你拿出这个明信片或是信件，那你想要再回味一下这封信当时的状况，那这时候信件上有标注日期，就是一件很重要的事情了。
All right, now let's take a look at the next part of the letter. We can see now that there's a greeting, and so the greeting here is Hi Kay.
好，我们接下来各位同学看到信件呢，另外一个重要的地方也就是这个所谓的招呼语。那像这里各位同学看到的 Hi Kay，这就是一个招呼语的部分。
And this greeting is kind of informal. So it's not a really formal thing. This is something you would write to a friend, but it's not the way you'd begin a letter in a business situation.
好，那像 Hi Kay 这样子的一个例子呢，我们可以看得出来，这是写给朋友一些比较没有这么正式比较口语化的一种招呼。那如果是在商业的信件往来之中呢，那当然你的信件就不会用这么样一个比较不正式的一个方式作为开头了。
All right, then let's also take a look at some other sample greetings.
好，那我们接下来来看一下有没有其他的方式可以来做招呼语呢？
And so we can say something like Dear Kay, and this is more like a very general greeting that you use for basic letter. Almost any basic letter you could begin like this.
好，我们可以看到第一个常用的例子是用 Dear 再加上这个收件人的名字，像是 Dear Kay 那这样呢，这个用 Dear 的方式呢是非常的普遍的一种用法无论什么样的用途都可以适用于 Dear 这样子的作为一个开头。
All right, and then we have another greeting, Hi Kay, and then also the next one is Hello Kay.
好，那我们另外呢还有两个例子在这边呈现给各位同学一个是 Hi， 一个是 Hello， 后来加上这个收件人的名字。
And we can see these last two are slightly less formal than the Dear Kay, and these are things that you would use with a friend more instead of in a business situation.
那各位同学也可以看得出来 ，Hi 跟 Hello 是比较不正式的状况下当你跟朋友在对话的时候可以适用的。那如果是比较正式的状况下呢，还是比不上使用 Dear 这样来的比较妥当。
And you can also notice that in these three greetings, there's a comma after each of the greetings, and so the comma is what you'd use in more of a personal letter.
好，那各位同学也可以发现，我们刚刚告诉各位同学的三个例子里面呢，在名字之后呢，我们都用了这个逗点来当做一个连接的部分。那在这个逗号呢，通常是用在比较个人的信件、私人的信件，或是比较不正式的信件，我们会在 greeting 这个招呼语后面使用逗号。
And then if you're in a strictly business situation, usually you would have a colon after the greeting. But it seems like a lot of people don't know this rule. And so most people tend to use a comma. But if you use a colon, this is showing this is strictly business.
好，那如果是在一个比较正式的商业信件的这个状况下呢，通常在招呼语后面我们会加上所谓的冒号。那这个冒号呢，因为很多同学或是很多的人其实并不清楚这样子的一个写作习惯因此呢，这个如果说在写作的时候那各位同学要特别注意一下是否是正式的场合。
All right, now let's go on and we're going to take a look at the body of the letter now.
好，那接下来呢，我们来看一下信件的主体部分。
Right, and we can see that we start the body of the letter on a new line and that we indent and begin with a capital letter, even though the greeting ended with a comma and not a period.
好，我们会发现呢，当我们开始撰写书信的主体的时候，我们首先呢会先空一行，那接着呢，在内容的第一行开头的部分留下一个所谓五格的空格，也就是缩排的这种方式把段落缩排处理。那这样子的方式呢，虽然前面的招呼语我们使用了逗号作为连结那并不是句点，但是呢，我们还是把接下来信件的开头第一个段落视作一个完整的开始，因此呢，第一个字我们还是要做大写。
And now if we look at the last line of the letter, it says, I'm having a wonderful time on vacation. And this is the theme for the whole body of the letter.
好，那各位同学可以看到，在这第一段的第一行这里呈现的第一句话，他说的是我正在经历一段美好的假期那这句话呢，也就相当于这一封信的主旨句。
Right, now, since having a wonderful time is the theme, we can expect that the rest of the letter is going to be about the events that made it so wonderful.
好，那既然这句话我们说它是呈现这一封信的主旨呢，那我们接下来就可以预期，在这封信的其他部分都会专注在讲述这一趟旅程是有多么的美好。
And now let's take a look at the grammar. We can see that this sentence is written in the present continuous tense because the writer is in the middle of the event of having a wonderful time.
好，那接下来我们再注意一下这句话写作的文法哦。那这里呢，它是使用现在进行式的状态来写作的。那这当然是因为这个作者哦，写作的人现在正在旅行当中哦。那因此呢，使用现在进行式哦是非常合适的。
Right, and then later on, we can see that the letter sets the scene very close to the beginning. It says that they're staying at the Paradise Hotel. It's in Hawaii.
好，那接下来下一个句子呢？哦，它就是在帮这个假期哦设定一个背景的状态了。那各位同学可以看到，他说现在呢，我跟我的太太哦，我们正在夏威夷，目前呢是住在这个天堂旅馆里面。
And then also, if we look at the grammar, we can see that there's a change from the present continuous tense to present tense, and that later they go back to the present continuous tense. Because we use the present tense when we're telling a location, we use the present continuous tense to describe an action.
好，那各位同学可以发现，刚刚这个句子哦，它是在文法的部分呢，从现在进行式变成了现在式。那接下来第二个句子呢，它又变成现在进行式了。那这是什么缘故呢？哦，那在这个阅读的时候，我们应该要了解到哦，那前面呢，它使用的是现在式，代表的是现在已经在发生的一个事实哦。那因此它就直接说哦 ，My wife and I are in Hawaii。那接下来说 We are staying at the Paradise Hotel。哦，要强调的是说我们正在持续进行的一个状态。那也因此是为什么我们使用现在进行式。
Right now, as we look at the next section of the letter, it starts to expand on the themes in the letter. And so we see that we're going to make a general statement and then support them with some details.
好，那接下来呢，下面的句子我们看到哦，它开始呢在讲述其他的细节哦，那这代表说呢我们既然已经讲述了这个主旨，并且设定了一个背景之后呢，我们可以开始扩展信件的内容哦，提出一些比较有趣的例子。
Right, and so we can see here it says the hotel is great. This is the general statement, and then some of the details of why the hotel is great are listed next.
好，我们在这个句子里面呢，可以看到他先说 Hotel is great 哦，这是一个非常通盘的叙述哦。那后面的句子呢，他也就在提出一些其他的例证。
Right, so now after we learn about the setting, we go back to the general theme that we saw in the first sentence about having a wonderful time on vacation.
好，那既然我们现在已经了解完一个背景之后呢，我们又接着回到最初提到的主旨，也就是这个美好的旅程的部分。
And so next we see examples of the wonderful thing that they have done so far.
好，那接下来呢，我们就可以看到作者呢，把他在这段旅程中做过一些非常有趣的事情都提出来了。
And we can see in this section that these are all things that happened yesterday, so all of this is going to be written in the past tense.
好，那现在各位同学看到的这个部分呢，你会发现他讲述的事情都是昨天才做过的事情哦。那既然是昨天发生的事情呢，所以作者都选择使用过去式来撰写所有的句子。
And then you can also see that once again the writer sets the scene at the beginning of the section by telling the time and the place that they went to.
好，那你也可以发现呢，这个作者还是会先把事情发生的背景讲清楚哦，比如说发生的时间跟发生的地点哦，他都会先在句子之前就先告诉各位。
Right? And so then, if we look at this a little bit more closely, we can also see that the writer is going to describe what they did, such as went snorkeling in the ocean.
好，那如果我们再仔细一点去阅读这个信件哦，你会发现作者呢还很清楚、很明确的把他们做的事情都说出来了。比如说，现在各位同学看到画面上的哦，指的是他们去做了浮潜。
Right? And then next they tell what they felt, which is that the water was cold.
好，那接下来下一个句子呢，他讲述的只是这个作者哦，他的对浮潜这件事情的一个感觉哦。
And then we also see what they saw, which is all these beautiful fish.
好，那接下来我们可以看到作者还提及了当他们潜水的时候所看到的一些东西，像是一些非常美丽的、色彩鲜艳的鱼啊，哦，这都是他们看到的事物。
And then what we can see here is that what the writer is doing is he's taking this event in Hawaii and he's trying to bring the reader into the experience.
好，那我们可以发现呢，其实作者这样做的原因哦，也就是希望呢能够让读者感觉到好像身临其境一样，所以他才会呢针对这些细节做了一些详细的描述。
And you can see that how they're doing this is they're trying to bring you into the experience by letting you sense the same thing that the writer is doing. And so basically what they're doing is they're taking the 5 senses that we have and they're finding ways to describe what you see or what you smell or what you can touch.
好，那你可以发现呢，他在试着要让各位这个读者呢去感同身受的时候，他也就是借由描述自己的五感的一些感官的观念那来让各位呢去想象在这个场景之下的一些感觉，比如说像是你看到了什么你碰触到了什么，那你是怎么样的感觉？你感觉到了什么？这些都是属于人的五感。
All right, now as we go and take a look at the next section of the letter, we see that we're moving into the future tense now.
好，那接下来下一个部分，我们会发现这封信现在已经改成使用未来式喽。
And so over here, we set it up with this time tomorrow, and then we're going to use the future tense to tell the things that we're going to do next.
好，我们会发现呢，在这里一开始作者已经把这个时间设定好它指的是明天tomorrow。那接下来呢，他也使用了这个未来式来表达他明天才会去做的事情。
And we can see here also we're using this be going to form of the verb in order to show that this is something that's planned carefully in the future.
好，那我们也会发现呢，在这里的未来式的使用方式用的是 be going to we are going to 就这样的方式来表达未来式的概念。那意思呢，就是用来表达说未来已经规划好的计划。
Right now, another thing about letters is they're often a dialogue that goes back and forth. And so if we look at the next section of the letter, we're seeing that there are going to be some kind of questions that are being asked to the people in the office.
好，那信件还有另外一个特色呢，也就是它经常是用来表达这个写信者之间往来的对话。那像信的末段，你也会看到这些对话。
All right, and then after we ask these questions, you can see that they're showing some kind of concern. They're saying, I hope everything is going well.
好，那我们可以从这些他提出来的问句当做对话的这个往来之中呢，可以看到他还是很关心这个在读信的这些读者呢，他们现在生活过得怎么样。
And then finally, at the end of the letter, we have a closing, and then we also have a signature.
好，那在信件的最后方呢，我们可以注意到会有所谓的结尾语跟所谓的署名的部分。
And now if you take a look in your textbook, you'll find that there are many different examples of closings that you can use in more formal and informal situations.
好，那各位同学呢，回去再看看课本，课本上就会给各位同学很多的关于这个结尾语的例子那怎么样在正式跟不正式的状况下去使用它。
All right, let's take a little bit of a break now. We'll come back in a few moments.
好，我们先让各位同学休息一下，我们待会儿再回来。
Welcome back. We're going to spend some time talking about grammar now, and I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Chen to talk about that.
好，欢迎回来，各位同学。接下来呢，我们剩下时间会为各位同学讲解一下文法的部分，那由我来为各位同学解释。各位同学，我们现在呢要来讲解的是时间轴上的动词所谓时间轴上的动词呢，我们为什么要特别把动词这个概念跟时间放在一起呢？那因为在现实生活中，我们会发现这事情呢经常发生的状况是非常复杂的有些事情发生在当下，有些事情发生在过去，有些事情是未来才会发生或者是一个持续进行的状态。那这样的状况下呢，我们必须要使用正式的正确的动词去套用在各种不同的时间当中。所以呢，我们先为各位同学讲解一下，英文呢在时态上面有分成4种，也就是我们常常听到的简单式、进行式、完成式，还有完成进行式。那我们搭配了在这个时间的概念，在时间上呢有分成现在时间、过去时间跟未来时间。那如果各位同学做了一个排列组合你会发现总共呢我们会获得12种的变化。那我们在英文的这个写作中呢，常用的时态呢分成5种，也就是简单现在式、简单过去式、现在完成式、现在进行式，还有未来式这5种呢是各位同学最常会碰到的。那今天呢，我们先为各位同学介绍一下简单式的部分。好，那所谓的简单式呢，其实在单元5的时候已经跟各位同学介绍过了。那我们曾经讲过这个简单现在式、简单过去式，还有我们所谓的未来式，或者说我们称为简单未来式。那这些概念呢，讲的都是在一个这个 now 这个现在的时刻发生的事情。那我们现在先从简单现在式为各位同学做个快速的复习。好，这个简单现在式呢，是英文中最基本的一种时态，它一般用来是描述当下的活动或者呢，还会谈论当时的这个时态或是习惯。那我们给各位同学看几个例子，我们用例子来做讲解。 好，例子1，我们可以看到的是句子。
I play tennis.
好，这里呢用了 play， 指的是常态或者是一种习惯。好，例子2呢？
He seems confused.
好，那这里呢指的是在这个当下的一个状态哦。那因此我们选择用简单现在时。
And the third one, the train leaves at noon.
好，那在这里呢，虽然它指的是在下午才会发生的事情哦，指的是未来的事情，但是它指的是在未来已经非常确定确认的安排，因此呢，我们用来代表这个未来时间点已经确认会发生的事情。好，那我们接下来呢来看的是简单过去式。简单过去式呢，用来是描述在过去时间已经完成的事情特别是你已经很明确的指出的这个发生的时间点的时候。那我们接下来看看例子，为各位同学讲解。好，例句1。
She traveled to Hawaii last year.
好，我们在这个句子中看到，它指的是过去在去年发生的事情哦。那我们使用过去式就非常容易理解了。好，下一个例子。
She lived in New York for 10 years.
好，那这个例子中呢，他提到说，是一个过去的状态过去10年都住在那里。那因此呢，我们使用这个简单过去式。
And he married a woman who lived in the same village.
好，这里呢讲到的是过去的事情他过去发生的这件事，那因此呢，我们就把它用简单过去式的方式来解释。好，我们现在在简单式的部分，还有一个是讲的是简单未来式那这个部分呢，我就为各位同学跳过了因为它的概念是非常容易理解的，指的呢就是指对未来的承诺那未来可能会发生的事情，那依据程度的不同呢，会有一些不一样的可能性。这个部分在前面已经为各位同学讲解过了。现在我们来讲一下这个所谓进行式的部分。那进行式呢，指的就是用来表示现在正在进行的活动那如果你使用现在进行式，就代表现在正在进行，那你会让你的读者感觉到好像身临其境，正在一起参与这个活动一般的感觉。好，那接下来呢，我为各位同学介绍一下这几种的这个句型的使用方式。首先，我们先看到进行式，它的最基本的句型呢是这样子的我们加一个主词之后呢，加上了 be 动词那 be 动词之后，我们连接上的是动词，然后使用 ing 的形式，也就是所谓的动词进行式。好，那如果是在现在进行式的状态呢，我们会看到它的句型会变成使用这个现在式的 be 动词 am 或是 are 或是 it， 那再加上动词 ving 的形式。好，那如果是过去的进行式的话呢，那我们就把 be 动词的部分修改成过去式的 be 动词，也就是 was 或者是 were 表达的是在过去的时间内过去的一段时间之中进行了一段时间的活动。好，那接下来我们讲到的是未来的进行式表达的是说在未来的某一个特定的时间点，它会在持续进行的一件事情。那在这个地方我们会加上了 will这个字来表达是未来式，然后加上了 be 动词的原形之后呢，搭配上动词的进行式的方式。好，那接下来呢，我们为各位同学做一个讲解我们来看一下文法练习的部分，各位同学回去就可以好好的练习看看。我们先来看练习1的部分。好，在练习1的部分呢，各位同学可以看到那请各位同学看了句子之后，把句子中的动词用底线标示出来。接下来呢，你就在 A、B、C 标示出这个动词时态的种类。然后呢，你在下面我们也给提供各位同学一个时间轴你可以标示现在式过去式、未来式以及进行式的状态。好，我们先来看看例句1。
When I was learning Spanish in high school, I faced a serious difficulty.
好，我们在这个句子里面，我们可以看到有几个动词 ，was learning 是一个动词，还有face 也是另外一个动词。那这状态下 ，was learning 指的是过去进行式，于是我们画上了这个曲折的这个曲线。那因为 faced 是一个过去是一个既定的时间，所以我们画上一个圆圈圈的部分。好，那接下来其他的大约有10个句子请各位同学回去之后在课本上照这样的方式去把它完成。
All right, so we're almost out of time, so let's talk about your homework. So make sure that you finish the rest of these grammar exercises at home and then go and do the writing activity.
好，那各位同学回去之后呢，当然首先呢要把这个文法练习的部分完成然后呢把这个写作实习的部分也一样做一个好好的练习。
All right, thanks for joining us this time for English composition. We'll be back with you in one more week.
好，谢谢各位同学这个礼拜的参与，我们下周再见。